Happy Sunday, you guys. Welcome back to our channel. I'm Z, and this is my husband, Charles. And if you guys are new to us, remember to like and subscribe down below. We'd really appreciate it. So, if you guys don't know, this is our weekly run to Costco. It is Sunday morning. And Charles and I thought it would be a great idea to kind of check back in on the conversation of tackling finances as a couple. So what brought back around this conversation for us? About 2 days ago, I would say, we had a little bit of I don't want to say if it's an argument, but a little, what was it? What would you say?
Let's say an end of the day misunderstanding.
Okay.
You don't
Something
like that?
Misunderstanding, maybe argument. But anyway, I don't remember what led to it, but I was talking about electively using our combined funds for something for me. Possibly. I was considering it, right?
Do you want to discuss what that was, or?
It doesn't really matter. It was
Okay.
elective. It wasn't a necessity, but it may cost a little bit more money. And so I was just getting the idea if he would support this elective use of our combined funds. And if you don't know, Charles and I were both full-time. We work. Charles probably does about 3, 4, 5 jobs along with his main job. Not that we need it, but it's nice for savings, especially if you guys don't know, we are in the process of building a home. So some elective or additional funds is great to have on hand. And so during this little tidbit, I was trying to see if he would support this elective use of funds. And during that conversation, he made the comment, I don't exactly remember how he said it, but how I received it was, well, you don't contribute any extra funds to our family, which...
That's okay. So that's
hold on, which
okay.
I don't believe is true. And so I got a bit upset because I'm very sensitive when it comes to a relationship. If my partner views me as inferior because I make less. And to give you guys some context, I am a family medicine physician. Of course, I'm in the process of paying back loans, but there is additional funds that are available too. Charles is an actuary, but he also does some side consulting and things like that. So he does make, at times, more than me. And so it was problematic to me, or how I received it, was that he was saying, well, I do more for our family financially, and you don't value our family and want to throw away our money. That's how I took it. Okay, you go ahead.
That seems like a very abrasive way to take what I said. So anyway, so it's the end of the day, and we're getting ready to go out on our Friday night date night, and Z's getting ready, and I'm hungry. Not that it excuses anything, but I'm hungry, and she kind of drops this thing on me like, hey, what would you think if I decided to buy this? And it's not a small thing. It's like a pretty big thing. And
not as big as a car or anything of that nature. So go ahead.
It depends what type of car.
For a brand new car nowadays, it's not the price of like a Toyota Camry brand new.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So she drops that on me, and she's like, what would you think about that? And now, to provide some context, later on, you did admit that you were trying to poke me a little bit with that.
Yeah, I was. It wasn't really something I don't really think needs to be done. I was just like, oh, I wonder what he would say. I wonder what,
So
but I don't think it justified that comment that you made.
Okay, so let's get into the comment. So she asked me what I would think about that.
Yes.
And I didn't directly say, this is what I think about that. I said, I'm having difficulty with this because, and I gave her this comparison. I said, so this particular time period's been a really good time period for me financially. I've been doing some additional jobs, and I've actually made a good amount of money here in the last quarter of the year, and all of that money, I figure, we need it because we're building a house. We're uncertain about our finances. We're not uncertain about our finances.
Yeah.
From time to time, cash becomes a question. Like the builders need this, the builders need that. We have to borrow money, temporarily from time to time. And so when she asked me this, I said, this is what I think in my mind, that I've made all of this extra money here in the last however many months, and it never once occurred to me to spend any of that money electively on myself, because I know that we're in a place where we need all of our funds to go towards our things that we're already doing, and so all of that money that I've made is going towards the things that we're doing for our family. And so I have a really hard time when you tell me that I'm going to spend this amount of money on something that I don't need, totally an elective thing, and especially when I haven't made any additional money or contributed any additional money. So that was my explanation. That was what I thought that I said.
Okay. So a few things. I'm trying to sort out where I want to start off at. So one, it is fully elective what I was, getting your input about as far as purchasing. It would not have in any way been an obstacle or prevented us from, addressing any additional expenses that came into play with our home. Two, I was just getting an idea of whether you supported that or not, okay? Three, as far as the additional jobs that you do, I spoke to you a few days ago prior to this little, argument or conversation that we had, that, hey, do you need to do, all of these additional jobs, because we really don't need it from a finance, for finances, right? We're quite fine. Having additional funds is great, but my whole thing was, I felt like mentally, mood-wise, having so many jobs and being a father and a husband, it was mentally taxing on him. So let's get that,
And to be completely fair, I have a problem saying no. I'm at a place where I've been doing my career for 25 years, and I'm fortunate enough to have established a reputation to where I'm able to get projects that are pretty lucrative, and I have a tough time saying no. And so a lot of the time, maybe I make myself work harder than I should. I don't take enough time for myself, just because it's really difficult for me to turn down opportunities.
And thank you for having that self-insight, right? That self-awareness. And also, I'm not a person, I don't buy a lot, right? I don't get the Chanel bags. I don't, I buy the fake jewelry, right? As long as it's cute, I will buy it for $10 off the Amazon. I'm just not a person. There's nothing that really, besides maybe a nice home, nothing really speaks to me. So in the past year, you can attest to this, there's not really much that I buy for myself.
No, Z's very good about not spending money for the sake of spending money.
Correct. I like a good trip, traveling somewhere, give me a nice hotel, like a good experience, but really and truly, I don't spend that much money. And so I felt offended because I felt like he was saying that I didn't value our family and trying to, what's the word? He was trying to put a finger at me.
Maybe guilt?
Guilt, and put a finger at me that you're not contributing a lot to this family and you don't care about this family. And I felt as if he was saying, well, I care more about this family and I make more than you, right? And I have a problem with that because when we first met, we said that, Charles was of the mindset, let's combine funds, right? If we're working as a family unit, what I make, is ours. What you make is ours. Because initially I was saying we should have separate finances. And so I also found it problematic that now he was coming from the standpoint of what I. And when we met, you were like, well, it's supposed to be ours, we. And so I don't like when he weaponizes, oh, well, I make more and now it's I, in order to make his point, right? I don't think that is fair. And so that's where I was coming from.
And if you took it that way, I don't think that I ever meant to weaponize that. I feel like I was explaining the contradiction between our two attitudes about the finances, and it wasn't like coming from a place of I make more money than you or something like that. It was coming from a place of like I even when I make extra money, I don't feel like I'm privileged to spend it on myself because we have all these other obligations coming up, and so that was what I was saying.
Yeah, but you can see how I would receive it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and I don't feel like you said it I felt you said it in a way where it was going to jab at me a little bit in the moment.
Maybe.
Okay. I'm glad at least you gave me a maybe instead of a no, because I felt in the moment, I think you're quite self-aware. I think that's how you wanted it to be interpreted. And so, and that's a little bit of a sensitive point for me because I think I work very, very hard.
You do.
And I get annoyed sometimes with what I do, but I do care, about what I do. And that was just my problem. I want you to change your mindset. If in your mind, somewhere in the back of your mind, you're always saying, well, I do more, my worth is more than my wife because I contribute more financially. And that to me was going to be problematic. And that bothered me because even to the next day, we kind of, patched it up a little bit, that day when we got into that argument. But even the next day when I ruminate on things, it still bothered me. And I remember I was doing my hair in the bathroom and I saw him and it came back up again.
Oh, she came at me like I just said it.
Yes, because that bothered me. I never want my partner to feel as if they can hold finances above my head because I work hard. And I always tell Charles, right? And I don't mean this in a negative way. It's just a reminder to him that I chose him, right? I currently choose him, right? Because I love him, but I never needed him, nor do I need him now, if that makes sense. I want to be with him and I love him as my partner, as my best friend, but I never want to be emotionally abused. And maybe abuse is a not the correct word because, he's my best friend, but I never want to feel as if my partner is using their finances to belittle me or, I don't want to feel like he's being condescending towards me because it is a choice to be with him. And I would be perfectly fine without him from a financial aspect as he would, be financially okay without me also too. But it's a choice, our marriage. And, we had the discussion when we first met that our finances was going to be a we thing, right? You put into the pot, I put into the pot, whether it's 60% and 40% on my side or vice versa, was supposed to be a we thing. Mm-hmm. So I felt that you even bringing that point up was kind of contradicting what your initial sentiment was when we first met. And so that was my problem with it.
And I felt like I was 60% explaining why I had a hard time wrapping my mind around the idea of you doing discretionary spending at this point in time. maybe 40% trying to rile you up because the idea offended me at the time. And now part of the reason that the idea offended me is probably because I frequently feel overworked and I don't take enough time for myself, and I probably don't spend enough money on myself.
Yeah, that's true.
And so probably a lot of the reason that I was kind of passive aggressive towards you about that is because I was really kind of mad at myself for overworking and under appreciating me.
Yeah. I feel like you're a pleaser, a server to your family, to the people around you, to your work, and you probably don't. So from both sides, do I think that we could have approached things differently? Yes, but we want to share this because I think a lot of other couples could relate to these type of conflicts when it comes to sharing finances, to making financial decisions that affect the families, not just a you thing or me thing. It affects both of us. It affects our family together. So if you guys have any comments, any advice, please put it below. We are more than happy to hear what you guys have to say about this conversation.
And thanks a lot for watching us. We enjoy sharing our little chitty chats with you.
Yes.
And hope you guys have a great week. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already.
Take care.